Hello there, subscribers. I thought I'd do a live stream today of just some coding on my game since I'm working on it. Might as well stream some of it. So right now what I'm doing is working on making it where you can kind of add friends to various parties that you have. So I said before I want to make this game where you can co-op with people and actually have multiple players online kind of play with you as you play the game. And I want to have the player have the option to control what kind of options the other players can do. And so let me show you what I've done so far just as an example. Let me comment this code out and start it. I've created two different players, and they're in the same area. And I'll kind of show you the dilemma I have and what I'm working on. So we got the server running now. So let's go ahead and log in as one player. So this is the first player, and he only has two characters right now. One's actually an NPC. I've created quests now called Escort Quest, and with the Escort Quest you can actually take an NPC that's in the game that's computer controlled and get them in your party, and then you're supposed to escort them safely to wherever they want you to go. That's what this guy over here is. You'll also notice a few other updates that I've done to the user interface. So now I show all the health type attributes. The orange is called physical health. That's basically hit points. This blue color is your respiratory system health. The circulatory system health is red. This light blue is your mental health. The green is your nervous system health. Yellow is your stamina, and purple is mana. So each character has those. You can see them there. So then that way, as you're getting attacked by enemies, they may be casting or doing certain types of damages that will only affect maybe your respiratory system health, for example. And you want to be able to keep an eye on it so that you don't end up dying. I also made the name a little more apparent so that you can hover over it and see that it's something clickable. And then I've also shown on here, I don't think I showed this last time, maybe I did, but experience level and levels pending. Okay, so anyway, getting back to my original point, right now there's another player in this same place. So when I have this player go to attack, you'll notice there's someone here named Lori. This is the other player character, and I don't want this game by default to be where you can attack other players, because that's just not a pleasant experience, especially for new people to the game. So I'm making it where when you look around, you don't see people that don't want to be seen by you. And same goes for multiple NPCs. So when you create a party in the game, there's these pre-generated quests that appear, and associated with those quests are NPCs. For example, the Springfield Traveling Merchant, that's the guy that's in my party right now actually. So when I go to Parlay, he shows up in the list and he's in my party. So if I say quest, he says, I really must be getting to Galax, please escort me. So the computer knows that the guy's in the party, we need to escort him to the destination. There's actually another merchant right here that you can't see. This player can't see it because it belongs to that Lori player, their party. So let me log out and log back in as the other player. So this is the one that has Lori in the Lori party, and you'll notice she's over here, and this traveling merchant can only be seen by the Lori player, because everything that's done is specific for her quests in this NPC. So in other words, you're kind of isolated in this single player game, even though you're sharing the same world. So hopefully that makes sense what I'm trying to get across. But there's going to be some times when NPCs are shared and all players can talk or do whatever and interact with just that same exact person. Other times it's going to be someone different. In fact, if we look here, this Springfield merchant has 110 physical health. And if we log back in as the other player, he has 106. So you can see they were randomly generated and they're different. Yet when I go to parlay, I'm only seeing the one there. So I've already got that part worked out where NPCs can be filtered for a given party. So now what I'm doing is making it where you can actually allow other player characters to have certain actions, either with your party or to your party. And so that's what I'm programming right now. Let me make sure that there's nobody in the chat yet. Flip over here. Oh, some person's there. Hey, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I'm going to be flipping back and forth to my computer that I'm remoted into and the chat, so you'll have to bear with me if I don't see the text messages right away. Okay, so let's get back to some actual coding. So what I'm doing here, let me stop the server. I'm creating a new table called ES Party Friend. And what this is going to do is allow you to pick one of your parties, if you have multiples, and you can say this player is a friend of mine. And if you have the player's ID, I have to figure out how to do that, like have a list of names or whatever. And maybe there's invites, I don't really know yet, but I'm just putting in the infrastructure. So this friend player will be linked to you. Then I'm going to put in all the options. So let's just create the various keys in the database. So this is going to be party friend, party ID. And we're also going to have an index on friend player ID. One player can potentially have multiple parties, and that's going to probably depend on if you're playing on under a free account, you only get one party, or if you're playing on a paid account, you'll be able to have many more options. And you could have multiple parties and going on at the same time. All right, so that's that table. Then what I'm going to need is basically kind of like permission types, I think I'm going to call it. So let me find another table that I can just copy and paste. Let's look at item type and steal that one. So we're going to say ES friend. Let's call it friend permission type. So we're going to have the player ID, and then, no, actually we're not going to have the player ID. We're going to have the friend, what's it called? Party friend ID. So you'll be able to set permissions between your party and the player. So the party friend ID, and then, and in fact, this isn't going to be this table, it's going to be another table. We'll call this permission type. And then we'll get rid of some of these others we don't need. So now we do need another table. We'll leave that one called this. It's going to have a name. It's 255 characters max. And that's all that's going to be in here. So these are going to be the actual names. This table we're going to call party friend permission. There we go. A lot of times when I program, I kind of do it on the fly, so I switch things around as I'm coding. Good, glad you're doing well, some person. Yeah, I'm doing really well. No, I'm not going to compile the Java to an exe. There's no need. That used to be something people did a long time ago. And this does not run on your computer. This is mobile. This is a web browser based application. So that's why right here I'm in the web browser. You'll notice I'm in Firefox. So on the server where all the Java code runs, that will not be an executable. They used to be done when Java was slow. You know, when it first came out, it was real slow because it was it's called bytecode. So it's partially interpreted once it's compiled into bytecode. And now with just-in-time compilers, they compile the native code anyway. You don't know they're doing that, but they do. So there's definitely no reason to have that maintenance. That was a thing of the past. And again, you won't have to install anything on your desktop or your mobile phone or anything because it's all going to be through the web browser. All right, so we're going to do friend permission type. And incidentally, for people that aren't very technical, exe is an executable that is specific to Windows and DOS. It's basically a Microsoft thing. EXE, that's what that stands for. Linux has different types of executables. Basically any Unix does, and you have to compile them separately. And Mac OS 10 or Mac OS, which is the latest for Macs, they basically have a Unix base, so you can run most Unix type programs on Mac. So they're all different. But yeah, with Java, you don't have to worry about any of that. Plus, it's running on the server anyway. It's not running on the client. All right, so we're going to put in the name. Actually, the name doesn't need an index on it. Think about that. I'll leave one anyway. And indexes are used for those that don't know about databases. They're mainly used for performance, so that when you join tables together or you hit the table with a certain value, you'll use that and it'll make it a lot faster. So that's the whole purpose of that. Okay, so now that we have the friend permission types there, we need to link up these types, and then I'm going to start figuring out the actual types to insert in that preload area that I've talked about before. So we need the party friend ID. And we're going to need this friend permission type ID. Copy and paste, lots of copy and paste. Check the chat here real quick. How do I protect it? It's all running on the server, so there's no need to protect it because nobody's going to have access to that server because I will be controlling all that. I also probably use, I have my own business, so a long time ago I created my own framework, and I have encryption and licensing stuff built into my software. So I'll probably do something special with that too, so that if someone did hack my server and get into the code, they're not going to be able to just put it on another server. I'll be able to control that. Hey, Dave for Shumps, good to see you. I'm coding in Java, not JavaScript. JavaScript is something different. It's a lot of people don't know that, but Java, which is owned by Oracle right now, it used to be owned by Sun Microsystems, but it's Java. Hey, Sir Percival, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? And I'm having to flip back and forth between the chat and my other screen on one screen, so If it takes me a little bit to respond, it's just because I haven't seen your messages yet. It's only flip back. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go over to my Preload class, and I'm going to start to figure out how to insert, or what I'm going to be inserting into this friend permission type, because I want to allow, like I said earlier, you to be able to say, I want this friend to be able to control my characters, or I want this friend to be able to cast spells on me. I want this friend to be able to attack, or anybody to be able to attack, which would be kind of weird to allow someone to attack you, but anyway, that's what I'm working on. So what we're going to do is look for ES item type, and that's my item type table. And I'm just going to copy that code. Let's just say insert item types and insert item type. So I'm going to copy and paste basically a clone of this, and we're just going to update it to be friend permission type. And all that it has is a name. These are just friendly names for me so that I'll know what they are. Okay, we're going to get rid of this. We have 4 parameters. Let's get rid of those. And we have no ID. Get rid of that and update these index numbers here. Okay, done. So now we have the ability to insert a permission type into the database. So what we're going to do now is the preload stuff. So here is where we're getting item types. We're going to do the same thing on friend permission types. This preload class only runs when the database is empty the first time, and it takes all this code and executes it and inserts into the database all the various records that are going to drive the game engine. So we'll do friend permission type. I have to create that class. I haven't yet. And we're just checking to see if it's empty, if there's nothing there yet. If there isn't anything, we're just going to say insert friend permission types. And then we'll retrieve them again. I still got to wire all that up and code that part. Don't need this new items thing. So when I hit save now, the compiler runs and you can see it doesn't know where these are yet, and that's fine. So then we're going to copy the item type class, and we're just going to modify, make clone of it, and friend permission type. Open it up and take out the junk we don't need, which is this stuff. So we're just leaving a name in it, basically. That's all that's in there. And the data object is the hierarchy in the it's called the superclass. That has the ID in it. Because everything in this game that's like a data object has an ID. Okay, so you can see one of the errors went away here. So now we just got to create get friend permission types. Let me look at the chat real quick. Glad you're doing well, Sir Percival. Yeah, I'm doing great. Okay, and hopefully, I'm going to make sure you're seeing this. Yep, okay. So let's do get item types. This is the quick way to do coding for those that don't have much experience. You take something that you've already done in a given area that you know you can just basically modify that's very similar, and copy and paste it and then just make changes to it. Kind of programming 101 for you. Friend permission type. And this is what's called SQL. It's a database scripting language that's been around forever. Pretty much every database supports it. Friend permission type dot name. And then we're going to fill the objects. So this is part of my framework that I developed a long time ago. I have something I created called Database Engine. And it returns these value sets, which are just like strings and values. So it's a name and a value. And so what I'm doing is taking those and then creating my actual objects that I use in the game, like friend permission type. So we need to create this fill method, fill friend permission types, save it, it complains, jump to the old one, copy and paste again, and modify. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is look for the word item type, and I'm going to change it to friend permission type using case sensitive search. And so then I just do a replace find like this. That speeds it up. Also, these two I know I don't need in this new table, so we're going to get rid of it and just leave the name. Save it. So now we want to do the same lowercase, because it is case sensitive. Java is a case sensitive language. Okay, so that's done, and let me uncheck this. So you'll notice on the right side here, I'm using an IDE called Eclipse. It's a very popular one. The red little line here tells me that there's still an error in this class somewhere I need to fix. So when we jump to it, it's basically because this method hasn't been created yet. That's the one I haven't done, and that's in my preload class. So again, I'm going to steal insert item types, which is this one, and I'm only going to steal the first few lines here, and then I'm going to put in the bottom. So let me jump to the bottom of this thing. As you can see that in this preload class, there's a lot of data being inserted into the database. And we're going to snag this. Look at that. And then we'll save it. Okay. Now we got to rename this. Insert friend permission types. And then these two errors go away. Alright, so now if you notice, we go back to our SQL class. There's no errors. You look at the right side. So this is ready to go. I just haven't put in any of the friend permission types yet. I've only just done all what they call the plumbing. So let's go in there. And let's see what we were doing for the item types. So down here, all we do is insert item type right there. So instead of an item type, we're going to insert a friend permission type. And these are just names. These are going to be things that the user will basically see on the screen, or I will translate to them on the screen so they can assign different types of permissions. So the first one I can think about is allow party control. Maybe I should say allow full party control. So if you assign this to another player, basically what you're telling the computer is you're going to allow them to control your party if they want to. So that's, of course, dangerous. So, but you may want to do that. And then that way, you could actually be playing two players at the same time and both be in the game. So like, let's say your friend lives in California and you live in Kentucky, and it's your party. You're going to be able to assign full control or allow full control, and when he logs in, he's going to kind of be like an observer and be able to watch you play and what you're doing. At least this is the intention. And then with allow full party control, he'll be able to click on your party members and control their actions. So let me show you what I mean by that. We'll start the game up again. Server's loading. There it goes. Okay, so we're going to continue. So if your friend has been given full control, you're going to see this screen he'll see the same screen. So as you're moving, he's going to get the same messages. As I do this, and we're walking, and this is changing, he's going to be receiving the same stuff. I don't think I'm going to make it where he can control this, but it's possible. So it could, maybe what I'll have is allow full party control that allows these also. Should be a little bit weird, but then I'll have allow full party member control. If you do that, then he'll be able to like click on the attack and be doing things from his side, and then you're just going to get back the messages. And so you can kind of be co-oping that way. So let me check chat here again real quick. Hey, Silicon Kane, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Some person says some tutorials you have taken, people prefer camel case, some lowercase. Looks like you prefer the first one. That's for Java. That's pretty much the standard. It doesn't have to be done that way. I'm not a stickler on standards like that. If you work in a big company and you're working on a big project with a bunch of people, okay, you need standards. But if you're working on something yourself or a very small team, there's no need for that. You know, you do however you want to do it. But just getting in the habit is good. With Java, they use, you know, the lowercase at the beginning and then uppercase for the words after. But that's all nitpicky stuff. There's a lot of programmers out there that are super nitpicky, and they never get anything done. Like they don't have the ability, because they're so picky, to actually work on projects and get them done. They can't work on a massive thing on their own. So, and this is just my perspective and opinion. You know, I'm a get her done type of guy, and you just don't want to get hung up on that kind of stuff. Now, again, if you're working on a big team, it's a different story. And some companies will tell you, you know, you need to do things a certain way and follow standards. But that's the beauty of working on things on your own. Do them however you want. But I do happen to follow a lot of the Java standards. Hey, Ilker, how you doing today? Good, glad Silicon Kane's doing well. Okay, so let me get back to the coding and get off my little soapbox there. Okay, so anyway, that's what the intention of all this, so you can share party, you can do co-ops and stuff. So we're going to have allow full party control, and in fact, I'm going to get rid of this because there's no need to have these on here. And let's do allow full party member control. That'll be another good one. And then we're going to allow party member attack control, which will mean you can control, you're allowing someone else to control a party member where they can only attack. We'll do cast control, and then we'll do use skill control. So you'll be able to control any of that. Just to show you what I'm talking about, like here's the cast. So if you allow cast control, then when they click the button on their computer, then they'll get this menu, and they'll actually be able to cast a spell. Here I'm going to cast Acid Arrow. Let's cast it on the NPC that's in my party. Let's see if I cast it successfully. I think this party member, I created him real fast, so he's got like really poor skill level. Yeah. I'll have to see too if I actually allow it to even happen in the code. I thought I made it where you can do that. Let me see if I can attack. Yeah, they're just attacked. The Springfield traveling merchant. But all I did was punch at him because I have no weapon, I don't think. Yep, no weapon on this. So anyway, this is the cast. Here's if you use a skill. So if you allow permission for that, the other player will be able to control your skills while you're playing and controlling your party. So let's see, what else? Invoke item, that's what this is. So we need that as a permission type. So use item. And then we'll need equip control. which is this. Do you want to allow them to equip or unequip? And then there's a bunch of special actions too that are going to be in this menu where you can set all your default actions and stuff. So rest and sleep, they're pretty much the same thing. Allow party member rest control and allow party member. So I'm making this real granular, in other words. Divine favor control. Thanks, I'm doing good, Elker. I appreciate that. Hey, Mistiff, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Mistiff says he used to remember the guys who always worried about that in the UI, but the basics never worked. Yeah, exactly. It's very true. Mistiff says, am I going to have avatars for party members? And happy birthday. I don't know why you're saying happy birthday. It's not my birthday. Are you talking about my YouTube birthday, maybe? Let's see. Avatars. No, I have tons of classes, though. If you go to my Fortaeverse website here, fortaeverse.com, I update this periodically, but this is the list of all the vocations I currently have on this right side. And you'll see there's a ton. More than any game that I've ever played that's this type. Some of them I've finished. If you click on them, you'll see descriptions, and if I have a picture for that type, I have it on there. You can see there's some I haven't done yet. And on this left side, I have all my races. And if I don't have a picture, at least I have the description and what they do for most of them. So yeah, I just check back on this website periodically if you wanted to know more about the different classes and stuff. Okay, let's see, what else? So here we're looking at the details. I think in general, those actions I put there will cover most things you do. Here's resistances. Because we're going to allow the other player, if they're your friend, to just look at any of your stuff. Actually, we'll put that on there. We'll say allow party allow view party details. And with that, we would actually allow a party member to observe you. So let's make another one called allow party observation. So in case you want someone to be able to watch what you're doing and playing the game, they'll get your messages also. And so you could say, for my Daryl party, I want to allow Jim to watch me play. So he won't be able to control anything, but he'll see live as you're doing things. He'll get the same messages. So that'll be kind of cool. Let's see here. Oh, Mistiff was trying to get everyone else to say happy birthday. That's funny. Okay. I think that's going to handle for now enough permission types. So now we're going to make the gets. We already have get item types and get friend permission types. Now we're going to need the friend or party friend. What did I call that? Party friend. So we need to allow the insertion of this into the database. Okay. Probably the best one would be party location, maybe. I'll copy that. Well, yeah, that'll be fine. So now we're saying insert party friend, which we haven't made yet. I use what's called GUIDs in this system, so that you can generate them ahead of time. They're the unique identifier on them, and they're global. You'll never have the same one on the entire planet. So that just simplifies things tremendously. So the party ID, and then we have the friend. I think I called it friend player ID. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now when I just saved, what the Eclipse ID is telling me, it says hot code replace failed. So if you look down here at the bottom, you'll see some messages flashing through. Those are messages I'm generating just for debugging, so I can see what's going on with the server. And so the server's still running. So it tried to dynamically load my Java class in, but it can't because this class doesn't exist. So I'm just going to terminate the server. And I didn't need it running anyway. Okay. But normally you can actually make a code change while the server's up and running the way I've done this, and it'll load in my code dynamically, which is really sweet. Okay, so now we need the friend player ID, and we need to create this class. So we'll just copy party location. Party friend. Get rid of all this junk we don't need. Okay, we have our party friend class now. You notice this error went away. So now we can insert party friends. Check the chat here. Silicon Kane says that'd be cool. I guess he's referring to allowing observation of the parties and the other players. I've been working on this for, I think, about a year. I think that's about how long. I'm not really sure when I started. It was last year sometime. Can't remember. Right now it's going to be just Windows, but I can make it run on anything. Since it's Java, it can run on Linux or whatever operating system I choose. I'm using Tomcat to host it. But yeah, right now I have a Windows-based server that it's running on and that I'm testing on. Okay, so we have the ability to insert a friend. Now we need to be able to retrieve them. So once again, I'm going to copy some code. If I can find some. Doesn't look like I have a fill party location. Let me see what else I have. Let's look for party context option. I don't think I'm gonna have a class for that either. So let me look here on the left. Party item. Nope, don't have that either. So it looks like we're probably going to have to make 1. Oh, it's because I have case sensitive on, duh. Okay. So we'll just copy the party action one. And we'll call this party friend. Let's see. Don't need that. Fill party friends. Okay, and we are going to have that other ID, which was friend player ID. And get rid of this other junk. There we go. Okay, and then just, you don't really need to do this. Variable names are actually pretty useless, to be honest. As long as you know what the method names are important, but the variable names inside those methods don't really matter that much when you've been programming 20 plus years. So what I'm going to do is, just to be consistent and for you guys, I'm going to rename those to party friend, case sensitive. Okay. Before I forget, we'll take off that case sensitive search. All right, so now we can get the party friends, fill them. So this method, I'm taking a party. So let's say your party's Daryl. We're saying, give me all the friends for Daryl for this party. So for now, that's all I probably need. I'll probably add some other methods later, like, well, actually, I know I will need one for the friend player ID. So instead of using the party ID here, it's going to use the friend player ID. But then everything else will be the same. And we'll say get friend, party friend by friend player ID. So then when a person logs in and they'll be able to see, like by calling this, the code will see, okay, here's all the people that are playing right now. Who do you want to observe? And let's say 3 friends allowed you to do that, or 1 friend that had 5 parties. He may allow you to only view party number 1. Then when you log in and get a list, it'll show you that. And then you'll be able to pick and observe, which will be pretty cool. All right, look at the chat real quick here. Mistif says, are you going to have a looking for party flag? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you expand on that, Mistif? Okay. I think we have the infrastructure in place for allowing control now. Okay, so let me go back to the game and show you the latest thing I did with the Escort Quest, because that'll be a lot more fun probably than just watching this boring coding. All right, so what I'm going to do is delete the database that I have now, so my preload code will run, and we'll see if there's any errors, if I made any mistakes here. I'm going to find out real quick. It goes to insert. So down here in the bottom, these are all the messages that the server is generating right now. I am generating these saying initialized, preloading done, complete. So the database has been preloaded and recreated by now, and now the server's running. It's up and running. So let's log in as that first player. We're going to create a new party. Let's call it D. And we'll create a new party member, Daryl, male, elf. And we'll just leave him an alchemist for now. And we'll just bump something a little bit. Let's do his alchemy just in case. Decide to cast something. Most you can assign in the beginning is 40, just some of these primary skills. Alright. We won't waste time on anything else. Alright, so we'll create another party member, because you can have up to 6 of your own player characters. Let's make her Foxling Ninja. How about that? Let's do Quirky 2. Not getting sound through my remote desktop, unfortunately, unless you're hearing that. But I sure didn't hear it. It's because I'm going through a remote desktop. Okay, so anyway, let's just give her a little strength, do some dexterity, agility. Let's bump her charisma a little bit too, because charisma does make a difference in this game for talking with people. And let's do some throwing vulnerability attack. Unarmed. I'm just messing around here. Sword. And they specialize with shurikens, so we'll give her a bonus. Okay. That we'll just make 2 party members now. Continue the party. So we start here in the middle of town. Now I'm going to show you the Escort Quest. But before I do, let me check chat. Is there Percival like a banner or a blazon for a party? Oh, so people can find friends. I see. Yeah, I'm going to have something like either an invite or maybe I'll have a flag, yeah, to say allow people to see me. Because some people want to play this in single player mode only. You know, they won't want to interact with other people, and that's fine. So by default, it'll probably be that way. It'll be locked down, so you won't be able to attack anybody. You won't be able to interface with anybody. The world will change based on what people do, but you won't get caught up in other people's battles and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I will have a flag. Let's actually do that now so that I don't forget about it. And let's say allow party discovery. So if you turn that on, then the other players that are looking for someone to either be a friend with or observe will be able to discover you. And then, of course, you're going to be, and then from there they can make a request. So there's 2 ways you could do it. You could either request to be a friend with someone, or you could say, I want to send a request for so-and-so to be a friend. So you could do it one way or the other. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to parlay. Here is a Springfield traveling merchant. We're going to have Daryl parlay with him, and he's the one that has the Escort Quest. So I'm speaking to him. I'm going to say quest. He says, hello, kind fellows. I'm a traveling merchant heading toward Galax. Would you be kind enough to escort me? I will pay you for my safe arrival. Do you accept or reject? So I'm going to accept. And now he's going to jump into my party. He says, great, I'll follow your lead. So here he is. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So now I have this NPC in my party. That's who this is. And he has no class, like vocation. That's why it says none there. But you can view him and do all kinds of stuff. But now that he's in my party, when I try to hit, like, to invoke an item, You know, I tell the player NPCs can't be told to invoke items. Same with skills or any of that. You can equip or unequip things for them, but you can't cast or any of that. And the things you can do with them is very limited as well from their main menu. Like I could drop him and then he'll disappear from my party, but I'm not going to do that, of course. So now he's going to go wherever I go. And so what we're going to do is go to where I'm supposed to take him. I think, let me look in the code. I think I made it 800. Oh no, it's 7,000, 2,000. That's the coordinates. And I haven't tested this, and I don't even know if I fully implemented it yet. But I want to see if you're hearing any sound. No, you're not getting any sound. That sucks. Oh well. So now it's just going to be off and walking. So this, I'm going to actually show you another feature in the game. I'm going to log out, but not the type of log out where you stop. So my party's going to be doing the same action they're doing now. So look, I'm around 400, 400 is my position when I logged out. So now I'm just going to flip back to the chat for a second and look at it. And then when I log back in, you're going to see that they kept walking. So let me look at the chat here. Hey, Christopher, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Christopher says he wanted to catch Fortaeverse stream and haven't yet. Don't understand anything he's doing, but still cool. Good. No, I figure most people are probably like, what is this guy talking about? He's just ranting. Christopher says, does charisma have an effect on specialized spellcasters too, like some games do with bards or paladins? Yes, it does, actually. Yeah, I'm trying to make every attribute I have special things in various areas that a lot of games don't. Because I hate games where an attribute's just used like in one situation and that's all it does. It's just so annoying. It's such a waste of time. So yes, charisma is going to impact quite a few things. Every attribute will. And it will in different cases. Like some type of event may come up and it may be very effective, and other times it may be terrible. Let's see. Electronaut. Hey, Electronaut, welcome. He says, I've heard about that guy. He's got no class. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Yeah, you're right, Sir Percival. And you guys are asking good questions. So, the website, I'm pretty vague. I don't put a lot of details in there. If you've ever played Ultima 6 and you read their manual, there's a clue book for that game. And I kind of like the style of it because it gives you a kind of a description of something, but it doesn't tell you all the details, and that's for then you to figure out. And I think a lot of people like that because there's some people that love the mystery and to figure out what something will do, and then they'll document it and maybe create a wiki page for it, or they'll create stats on it. And I don't want to remove that from people. I want them to be able to discover that. And then players that want to just have somebody tell them what it is, and then they could go to a wiki page that somebody else made. So I'm just going to be giving details on things, but I'm not going to give everything out, specifically. And you'll have to figure out the formulas, and I'll just give vague descriptions. But like if we look for charisma here, let me just do a search in this preload area. We'll see. Actually, it's probably going to be in the game engine. Let's see if we find anything referring to it. Nothing in there. Let me look in. It impacts, obviously, when you parlay. Let me look. There's another class I'm missing here. Let's see, where would that be? Oh, the calculation class, I bet. here we go. The Voker. If the Voker, Charisma has a big impact on them. So the Evokers are basically summoners. They specialize in summoning monsters. And was that what Sir Percival talked about? Yeah, he said like maybe the divinity one, but evoking really charisma impacts that. And I'm only going to show you a little bit of this. I don't want you to have all of it. Plus I may change this at some point. But you can see ×2. So that's a big deal. Confidence has just a ×1 impact on evoking mana. Spirituality has a 1-time impact. And empathy has a 2 times impact. So certain attributes like empathy may be useless for certain actions or for a certain vocation, what they normally do. But then others it won't be. And I'm calculating separately for all these different things. So it's going to make all attributes useful for some cases. So hopefully that'll be fun for people. I just love variety. That's why I do this kind of thing. I want people to be able to play it for years if they want. Okay, so anyway, let me log back in and see how far we've walked. As I've been logged out for a while. Have we reached? Nope, see, we're still not there yet. We're at position 3,250. We've reached the Y position, but we haven't reached the X position yet. Which was what? Let's see, where was it? 7,000. So 7,000, 2,000 is where Galax is. And Galax is just another village or city like Springfield where you start. And so he's wanting me to escort to there. So that's where I'm heading. And we'll just let the game run there. Let's see. Sir Percival said he'll be interested to see, though, as Knights and Paladins are his favorite classes. If it's not obvious. Although I know they're separate classes in Fortaeverse. Yeah, they are separate. Yeah, the Paladin has a special ability. They have a few special abilities. One they have is called Healing Hands. That's what... Think of like Advanced Dungeons & Dragons where they can heal. So the Healing Hands ability uses up stamina for the Paladin. And it's impacted... Here I have a question mark because I haven't decided yet on which attribute. But right now I'm thinking empathy and spirituality are going to impact your Healing Hands. The other ability or skill that Paladins have that they specialize with is Defend Ally. So they'll be able to actually kind of help protect another ally or a player, a party member, by blocking or taking some of the damage away from them. So that's a specialty with the Paladins. Whereas Knights, Knights have a riding ability where they can actually ride on a mounted beast, whether it's a horse or something else, maybe a little dragon or something eventually for really strong party members. But they have this riding ability, so they'll be able to attack and fight while on that beast. And then they can specialize in quite a few different weapons and even plate armor and mail armor. I don't think I gave that to the Paladin. Let me look. Yeah, I did. Okay. But they don't have pole arms. So the Paladin can't do well with pole arms, but the Knights can. What else? Oh, two-handed melee weapons and simultaneous melee weapons Knights can do with also quite well. And they can specialize more with melee attacks. So the Paladin's kind of they're still really close to being like a Knight type, but they're not good with riding the horses and stuff in combat and pole arms. And they have a little bit of healing, with their Healing Hands ability and stuff. So it's kind of in between a priest and a fighter or knight, although they're much more like a knight. Let's see. Christopher says, awesome, everything moves away from complexity. Streamline is cool, but you like the meaty stuff too. Yeah, The way I try to do things is I like to put the details in there, and then if I feel like it's too complicated for a user or they don't like it, I'd like to be able to hide that option away. Kind of like in most software where you have an advanced settings and just simple settings. Because you can always hide things. You can always have the computer handle the majority of it and have defaults. But then it's granular. So if someone does want to have the complicated stuff, they can. Because some like it and some don't. And then some things get tedious and they're annoying and you don't want to deal with it. Well, that's fine. You could just have the computer automatically do it and not have to worry about it so much. Yeah, Misdiv, yep, dual wielding. Yeah, the knights can specialize with that. Yeah, you could have both. You could have 3 knights and 3 paladins, or 2 paladins and a knight and whatever. And so yeah, you'll have any kind you want, and you can change vocations in the game eventually. I'll make that just like in the Wizardry series, so you'll be able to switch to something else. You will, like in Wizardry 8, you will lose certain abilities that are specific to that class, but overlapping things and things that are generic, you'll keep that. You'll keep those skills and stuff. Sir Percival says he has another friend who will be all over the my paladin class though. So you basically wrote this as a massive SQL database. That's where all the data is stored, yeah. All this preload stuff here, what it does is it inserts all this into the database. Let me show you. So I'll browse the database. And on this left side here is where all this is stored. So these are all the tables I have right now. So like, let's look at spell, for example. All of this was put in here by my preload class. So let's sort by name. So here's just some names of spells: Acid Arrow, Acid Bomb, Acid Rain, Age. There's some special spells here. Like you can see this Agility plus 10 item, Agility plus 15 item. I have some that are, they're spells, they have spell effects, but you won't cast that. And that's because they are for items that get generated. But as you can see, for every normal spell that has a buff or a nerf type effect, there's going to be anti as well, like anti-basic armor, anti-beta particle armor, anti-flaming armor. Just every one will have anti as well. And I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, so I apologize about that, guys, but that's just kind of how my mind works. I'm thinking of one thing and it leads me to another, and so I just keep going with it. But I will show you how many items get randomly generated based on these special effects. Your mind's probably going to be blown. But let's look at like Mind Flay, for example. So the Mind Flay spell is 50 mana, that's a lot. It's a strong spell. So now what we're going to do is look at spell magic effects. So this just defines the name of the spell and how much mana it's going to cost. If we look at spell magic effect, and let me grab, can I do that with this tool? Doesn't look like it lets me right click here. Okay, then what we'll do is this. Not party. Spell magic effect. Where name equals Mind Flay. So here's the magic effects of Mind Flay. There's only one. And if we scroll over here to the right, so it's going to do between 80 and 100 damage, and it's going to be doing mental damage. And the target type value is 20. So it's going to hit anything in a 20-foot area for 80 to 100 mental damage. And as I showed earlier, that's what this is here, this light blue. So basically that mind flay, if I had no mental resistance here, that would kill all three of these party members instantly, pretty much. Because he's got 89, he's got 85, and 75. But yeah, all this stuff's preloaded in the database. That's a high-level spell. The Alchemist here, for example, is still running? Oh, I shut it down. Okay, never mind. Let's log out. But yeah, all that stuff's in here. Let me just show you, like ES quest type. Like here's all the quest types, like attend an event, cast a spell on an item, create an item, cure blindness, cure disease, diplomacy. And I'm going to keep adding to these lists, but these are all just different types of quests that you'll be able to go on and receive and stuff. Okay, now let me show you some random items. Let me check the chat real quick. No, it's no problem, Mistiff. So then, did you have to link the pieces? I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Let me show you the items that'll get randomly generated here. It's really fun. I just got to remember where I put those. They might actually be in the database by now. Let me check that out real quick. Yeah, this is a very, very small amount of the item types. So this isn't what I want to look at. And these are items that already exist in the game. So that's not what I want to look at either. Okay, I'll just do it through the code then. It'll be a lot easier. That would be probably in generation. I do have another one. ES engine item, it might be in here. Yeah, here we go. A random special item, get potential items. Okay. Yeah, here we go. I can control the cost value of all the items. So if you think about, like, if you're familiar with Wizardry 6, 7, and 8, when you open a chest, what it does is it gives you a certain item based on the gold worth of the items. So like it may say, well, this chest was pretty tough to open, so we're going to give you one item that's worth about 20,000 gold, and two that are worth 5,000. So I have that same ability, or I can just say, just pick something completely random. So what I'm going to do is right here I'm going to put a breakpoint, because once the server starts, it has generated all these possible items, and then I'm going to show you the list. And it's only going to increase. I'll just show you what it is right now. Okay, all the items have been shown, so let me pull this over. Where is it? Items. There's 41,155 right now. Max cost, none. Min cost, none. Okay. So if we just start digging into some of them here, we'll see what they are. They're going to have goofy names too. Here's an acid bomb. Oh, someone's here at my door. Hang on 1 second, guys. You can hear my dog. Be right back. Okay, guys. Oh, the joy of live streaming without my headset. I have a Yeti microphone sitting next to me here, so you probably heard a lot of noise there. Let's see. Let me go back to chat real quick. Yeah, the spell name links back to the actual spell. Yep, that's what I meant, Mistiff. Hey, T-Bone. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see you later. Yeah, sorry, Sir Percival. I hope you guys didn't have headphones on or earbuds in. She blasts your eardrums out. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this. So this was an acid bomb, like that can be thrown. Let's look. So here we have a dexterity plus 20 amulet. So that's one example. Let's see what the next one is. Sense of smell plus 2 amulet. So in Might and Magic 4, for example, that I've been playing on my live stream somewhat, you'll notice when they generate random items, they take some attribute things and they combine them. Well, there's an example. There's increases your sense of smell by plus 2, and it's an amulet you can wear. So you can end up with a lot of weird things. Here's sense of smell plus 5 amulet. And you'll see it just kind of runs through all the different combinations I have here. Sense of smell plus 10. So let's go down a little farther. A stamina plus 10 amulet. So it looks like it's dealing with all the amulets right now. Yeah, sustenance level plus 5 amulet. So we'll skip quite a ways down. Let's go to like item 200 and see what we get. Now we're to anklets. We have a spirituality plus 10 anklet. And I have all kinds of different item types. Boiled leather buskins. So those are shoes that are made out of boiled leather. So now we must be to the buskins part. What else we got? Anti-frost boiled leather buskins. So those are still boiled leather, so have the same attributes that the boiled leather normal has, but it's also anti-frost, so it gives you some frost resistance. And if we look at like the worth, let's see if it has the value. So that's worth 18,000 copper. Whereas what was right before it? Regular boiled leather buskins are only worth 1,500. So I've calculated in all the worth and all that stuff based on the properties of the item. Let's go down quite a bit. Let's go down to like 9,000 and see where we're at. Anti-jolting gauntlets. So evidently that'll give you some electricity resistance. Okay, what do we got next? Here we go. Here's a weapon. An acidic guisarme, and it's made out of hardened steel. So that would do some acid damage in addition to normal, and it's worth 1,452. Now if we go one more down, it's probably going to be the same thing, a Gisarm, hardened steel, but it's not going to be acidic, it'll be something else. Biting. Okay, so that's a biting one. And now look at the biting, it's worth 40,000. And once again, go down a little more. Stinging is worth 13,000. All of these are acidic type weapons. Actually, this one, scathing, that's heat. This one's really expensive, 154,552 for the scathing Gisarm. Scathing, if we look at that, I think so. Scathing does 25 extra damage of heat, or actually that is acid damage. Okay, so the scathing is acid damage. But that's why it's so expensive, because it does 25 extra acidic damage, and it's treated as though the spell would have been 13 mana, and it doesn't wear off. That's a permanent effect on that weapon, so that made that super expensive. And the way worth is calculated is based on the mana. If it has a magic effect, it's based on the mana, but it has an exponential factor. It's not quite exponential where it's like power of 2, but it might be like a power of, 1.5 or 1.3 or something. So as the mana goes up on the spell, that much more powerful, it's so much harder to find an item like that. So that's cool. The reason why I'm doing this kind of thing is I love games that have variety, but I don't like to overwhelm the party with, or a player with, magic items that are strong. You don't want a player to be bored and just get a ridiculous number of strong items, but you want them to be able to find a pretty good variety of magic and special items that are cheaper, and so it's going to really have a great effect. Plus, like in the gold box games, the AD&D games, they get so boring when you get so much gold. You get so much money that the economy is completely screwed in that game, and so I don't want to allow that to happen. And so there will be really expensive items that you could search for and find eventually, and economy will never be a problem, because you'll always be able to spend your money on something super expensive if you want, or if you don't care about the money for that, you could sell something and potentially get a good amount of money. Yeah, that's 54,000 combinations, and then it's going to go up a lot more than that. It'll probably be like close to 1 million by the time it's done. But the way I've programmed it, it's all done by the computer. So it's all done by formulas. So I don't have to manually create all these combinations. I just create the base type, and then the computer goes through and creates all the different variables. Like I tell it, let me show you. Preload, like the anklet we were talking about. So here's all the different kinds of decorations or jewelry. Amulets, anklets, armbands, badge, bracelet, bracer, brooch, cameo, tiara, ring, necklace. So there'll be all these different base items, and then there'll be combinations. So you'll see just so much variety, which will be fun. Sir Percival says he's sure there's something like the preemptive health in D&D. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Mistif says, what he misses from the original EverQuest was making things like fletching your arrows and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I have the craftsman class in here, so that you can create stuff and improve them and all that. You love to cut wood and give different trees and better weapons and arrows. Yeah. So you'd probably like the miner and the craftsman in my game. I didn't want to make too many like silly classes like that weren't too useful in the game, but I may consider it in the future. Things like a miller. Miller would be just boring. Okay, so you're going to mill some corn into grain. Okay, you're going to mill something else? I mean, so there's certain professions and vocations that are just a little bit too simple probably. But craftsman, you could do a lot with that. Ranger, you know, the ranger I think has foraging ability, so they could go out hunting for things. And then I have the apothecary who can have herbalism. I think they have herbalism. So you could search and hunt for herbs in the woods and stuff. So that would be fun. Sir Percival said he'd love to play a stationer, printer, or bookbinder. Yeah, I don't know how I could do that. I have the scribe, and the scribe does have the ability to create scrolls and stuff. You know, magic scrolls. But some are just like so hard to do. I'll have to think about it. And if you guys have ideas, put them in the comment section, you know, at the bottom of this video to consider. But yeah, the problem is I'm already putting so much into this game. I gotta stop at some point, but that doesn't mean it can't be added. I can always continually work on the game and keep adding when it's live. So I will definitely consider adding, you know, less adventuresome type vocations to the game, and we'll just keep adding to it. Kind of like how Ultima Online did. They would just keep adding things over time. He wants to be a wench. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Let's see. So let me go back. I'll show a few other items just to see what kind of goofiness we get here, and then I'll move on. Let me go down much farther. Let's get to like 30,000 and see what's down here. Anti-toxic plated mittens. So those are worth 18,000. They have 9,500 structure points. That's the other thing is, I've talked about this before. Armor and weapons, they have structure points, and they will get damaged over time. But what they're made out of makes a big difference. So like if you have hardened steel and you're hitting, let's say, bronze or something made out of copper, your hardened steel blade will not decrease its structure points much at all. And the bronze or the copper will take a lot more structure point damage. So the person can still get injured even though the structure points haven't reached zero. All that the structure points means is once it reaches zero, it's broken and it no longer it can't be used. And so if you did 50 damage to someone that their armor absorbs 20, they're physically going to take most likely at least 30, but they may take more depending on how well the blade cuts through it. And there's different things like, you know, electricity can do double damage against people wearing metal type armors, or if you're wearing leather, that decreases cold damage a little bit. So all that stuff's programmed already. I already got it in there. But it's just so much variety. And scroll down a little bit more here. Anti-mental plated mittens. So this will help protect you from mental type damage effects while you're wearing those. What else we got? Anti-freezing plated mittens. Anti-wearing plated solarates. So those are plated things you wear on your feet, and it's going to decrease spell effects that lower your stamina. So let's see what that's worth. 20,000. So you'll have all kinds of different resistances and things you can work on, and it'll be lots of fun. I'll do one more. Melting sap. So sap's a type of weapon. So this is a melting one. So it does probably, I'm guessing melting is fire damage. Again, worth about 18,000 because of that property. Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to see or hear about it that I can talk about? Let me know in the chat here. Okay, see you later, Mistiff. It was good seeing you. Lectronaut says he's working on a door to the inn in his game, and he's looking at the bartender, the wench character right now. That's funny. Hi, Separin. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing again? How much memory the game uses just now? So some things get cached into memory and other things are left in the database. And so things that are required to be hit quickly, I have cached in memory. Other things that, like the game world itself, which can be absolutely gigantic, is in the database, so it's not going to be in memory. So right now, let me load it up here. And I'm running in debug mode, so this is going to use up a lot more memory because it's not optimized. It's not in release mode. But this Java WEXE here is what's running on the server. So right now it's using up 1.1 gig of memory. And you can see the CPU usage on the servers between 0% and looks like going up to 8% sometimes. So roughly 1.2 gig of RAM. And then of course as players get in, that's going to go up. But this is all on the server. You're going to be running in a web browser, so you're not going to have any memory usage. It's just the server. So the memory usage is actually quite low for how complicated this is. It really doesn't use up that much. And that's with all those items cached in memory. It's with, here, I'll show you everything that's cached. It is cached resistance types, condition types, purpose types, food and drink, body locations like arms, legs, head, neck, the locations for different races, because like a wolf has 4 legs, torso, neck, head, but humanoids have just 2 arms, 2 legs, toes, and everything. Composition type. So all of these things are cached, and it's only using up 1.2 gig of RAM per server. It's nothing. Yeah, if you program things well, it doesn't use up a lot of memory, and Java's the same way. If you program things really well and architect it well, you can basically have references to other things, and then it doesn't use up a lot of memory. And like I said, the game world itself is stored in a database which could grow to gigantic size. I mean, it could be 2 billion. The X position is going to be up to 2 billion, the Y up to 2 billion, the Z up to 2 billion. And then I have what's called the D position, which is like a dimension kind of, and that can be up to 2 billion. So that will never be loaded into memory. I might load like sections into memory, and I load monsters and things like that into memory and events that are in the game world that need to fire continuously and stuff. But besides that, the world itself will only load sections in as players go around those areas. Like let's say you have the teleport spell and you teleport 1 billion miles away and that part of the world or universe is programmed, then the game engine will read in some of the things that are around that area and deal with it. So unless you had players in every single possible spot, then you'd be loading in way too much, but it's not going to ever get to that point. And then things, of course, unload back when you leave certain areas. It's all transparent. You'll have no idea that's happening. How much video RAM? It's the web browser, so it doesn't use any video RAM. It's just whatever your web browser would use. Let me go back and run it, and I'll show you. Let's log in. So I'm in my web browser right now. This is what you're going to be using. This is it. Oh, and we finally reached our destination, Galax. You can see it says it up there. So we'll see if the escort responds to this. I don't know if I've programmed this yet, but I've reached where he told me to go. So I'm going to say quest to him again and see what he says. Ah, I did program that part. He says, we made it. Thank you for the escort. Are you ready for your reward? So we'll see if this part works. I don't know if this works. The party gets 5,000 experience and 5,000 silver pieces. Okay, so Daryl just gained a level and he just said improvement, but you can't hear the audio. And the part where he's supposed to leave the party, it doesn't look like I programmed that yet either. Because he's still in the party. But if we look at Daryl, it looks like I've got something not right with the experience he got. Because it shows he has 110,000 experience. And he has 2 pending level ups. Which obviously isn't true. I know at one point I was monkeying around with the experience and bumping it real high on purpose to do multiple level ups. Yeah, he's still getting it. It's still firing the level ups for him. That's hilarious. But it's partially there. So yeah, the video memory is pretty much non-existent. It'd be just whatever you had in the web browser. All right. Improvement again. So I'll log out. Oh, good. I'm glad that makes sense to you. Yeah, no problem at all. Well, you guys have any questions? If not, I'll probably quit this stream. Otherwise, if you have any questions about something, let me know and I'll talk about it. I think it'll be fun for people to co-op if they want, having those options. Some people just want to play like a normal desktop game, or on their mobile phone. They'll want to play it and just, do some grinding where they say, okay, you're going to work on creating some leather armor and log out and just leave them do it. Or he'll send a miner because you can split your party up. And you could send a miner to the caves and maybe one other person with them to kind of guard them. And then log out and have him do his mining. And then when you log back in 5 hours later, maybe he found some gems or some silver. So I think some people like playing that. I haven't stress tested it to know for sure how many users will be able to connect, but it should be quite high. I would guess at least 1,000 simultaneous users it should be able to handle. And it depends on the server, of course. Sure, some person, no problem. But yeah, there'll be all kinds of people will sign at the same time, and I don't expect many people to play the game because it's so niche. Nobody knows about it. I mean, nobody knows about my channel. I only have 1,700 subscribers. I mean, it'd be great to get a lot more, but unless everybody starts spreading the word, I don't expect there to be just tons of people playing it. But yeah, the other thing is I can always set up multiple servers, and they would be potentially different game worlds. You could do that too. Like, you could have, this is the Western world and this is the Eastern world, and they're totally different. It'll be the same base world, but the monsters in there might be different, and the shops and the items and everything else. So that it's always a possibility too. Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and just thought while I was doing a little coding, I'd just talk about it a little, and might as well talk while I'm coding. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.